Hello, hello. Time for another 3D printing update. I'm going to try to do this about once a week. This week I have off from work, so pretty much gonna do two. So, what I want to show off is I have two filaments. I have a whole bunch of new filaments, actually. Those are all the ones I haven't opened yet. I'm probably going to be sneezing a lot, and I'll explain why in a second. It's not because I'm sick. So this is a wood fill filament, and this is Eevee, Pokemon, and this is a fluorescent green filament. And I don't have a UV light to show you, but I had some blue light on, and a black light or something like that, but it was still pretty cool to see. So I don't know if I'll get a little UV flashlight or something, maybe to show that off some more. What I was trying to do with these green filaments is finish off this guy here, my Sudowoodo. And I was going to print green balls for the tips of his hands there, and I was trying to print all of them at once, and they just popped off the plate. I even tried it with a brim, and it still failed, although it failed later. And so this is my current progress. So I'm just doing one at a time. It's going to take a lot longer, but it looks like it's working. I've already gotten higher than all of the other ones combined. Roommate might be home, so I'm just close the door. So the other things I did, actually, I don't know if I show this off yet. This was my first attempt with the wood filament, and it looks absolutely atrocious. The bottom was fine. I printed on the TiVo Tornado. I'm going to use the TiVo Tornado for my more experimental filaments and keep the Ender 3 for printing like actual stuff that I want to keep. I did have some failures with the Bulbasaur. I had some weird under extrusion problem and things along those nature. I don't know anyways. But anyway, so this is the wood filament. And it smelled really good, and it still kind of smells. I'm not printing it right now, but it smells really nice. A bit more like a thick PLA, like corn, like cooked corn, or even popcorn a little bit. And yeah, it's pretty good. But ever since I started printing with this stuff, my nose has just been completely clogged up. And I think that whatever wood is in this wood fill is the kind that I'm allergic to, because I'm allergic to some kind of tree. I don't remember if it's pine or maple or whatever the heck it is. Whatever it is, I'm allergic to it. I'm allergic to these guys. So, I mean, handling them was okay, but my nose, just being near them, is really agitated. So I probably wouldn't want to give these as gifts to anybody who has a sensitivity like me. Now, however, I want to finish my Sudowoodo. He's not a low poly Sudowoodo, like my other Pokemon have been, mostly because I wanted to see how smooth this wood PLA came out. I think this is 0.1 millimeters layer height, whereas the Eevee is 0.15. But really, aside from some strange lines you can see there, I don't know what happened. It looks like a failed layer or a missed extrusion or something. But other than that, I can't see. I even turn on the flash. I can barely see layer lines at all. Okay, I see layer lines on the Eevee, especially below that missed extrusion part. But above it, there's one layer line here on the ear. But the Sudowoodo is just absolutely magnificent. I have some, okay, there's a layer line down there, sure. I have some unsmoothness on the arms here, because I had support holding this up, so I don't think that did super well. A little bit of hairs. Almost no stringing, which was good. And no stringing on the Eevee either. I was printing them a lot slower than I was printing any other of my PLA. So yeah, these guys have just turned out fantastic. So the last thing, well, here's my changes actually. Here's the before. This is the first print with just normal PLA settings, and then this is the after print when I changed things to actually make it work with the wood fill. And what that basically meant was finer layer height. So this was 0.3 millimeter layer height, which didn't turn out at all, and it was 60 millimeters per second. It was way too fast. So after some advice online, they told me, hey, just slow it down and print, smaller layers, and it turned out pretty good. You can see there's a bit of roughness where the layers are. It's not perfectly smooth, but I actually did sand this one down, and you can probably tell this wood filament sands really nicely compared to normal PLA filament. The normal PLA filament is just way too hard, and when you're trying to sand it on a sharp edge, okay, you can sand it a little bit, but on the smoother stuff, like the tip of the Bulbasaur, I don't know what happened, but something happened and it's not smooth. And I was trying to sand it smooth, and it just does not sand. It's just way too hard. But the wood filament is much softer. It's softer to the touch, and it's softer to sand. But it's not so soft as it doesn't deform. It's still very, very strong. Of course, I'm not using a lot of force on it, just a few fingers. And yeah, this one turned out well, and then did this. And, well, actually, before I printed the Sudowoodo and the Eevee, the next guy I did, using the same settings as this one, essentially, was Groot, Baby Groot. And he turned out pretty good. I think I lost a little bit of detail because I scaled him down to 50%, so he's a lot smaller than his model is. And he has a weird issue where one hand's bigger than the other. But his face turned out really well. Underneath, it's almost perfectly smooth. Up top, you see a little bit more of the layer lines and those weird mist extrusion lines. I don't know what's causing that. It's really frustrating me. I do know that my Titan extruder on my Ender 3 is not doing super well. I stripped the screws on it. I wanted to replace the screws, but the hex heads are just no good, and they totally stripped. I have made more progress on this. Now I have a fully working mechanism here, so probably going to be hard to do with one hand. But this, as you can see, kind of flips around. And this is made from 3 parts. If I can take it apart. I haven't glued it together or anything yet, so I'm going to have to put that down. So it's 3 parts. I think I already showed you this part last time in my last video. Oh, jeez. So this solid piece goes inside this one. Just like that, and it slides into place. And in between these two is this piece. Oh, jeez, I'm doing this. I don't have any table space left to do this, unfortunately. So this is what the switch axe is going to slot into. And these are the 3 pieces that I couldn't get to print at my test scale. Just was not printing at this tiny scale. So this is the mechanism up top that's supposed to go up there that actually does the switch axe flipping. So the switch axe slots into this thing, and it can slide up and down. And also this is what it pivots around, the sword bit of the switch axe. So it just goes in there, and probably kind of see this just turns. I don't know if I'll grease it or might have to reprint it in like PTG or nylon or something. Nylon would probably be the best, although I don't have any nylon at the moment. But nylon is slippery and it's not sticky. And it doesn't glue to anything, but this piece doesn't need to be glued, which is actually good. And then this last piece just slots in like that. Oh, I didn't actually quite get that lined up. There we go. And then eventually you glue the 2 outer pieces together, and then this piece should be able to do this, just rotate freely. So it's a little sticky still, but when I first put it together, it wasn't even moving at all. But the more I played with it, kind of sanded it with itself, and now it moves relatively smoothly. Not smooth enough where it can do it under its own weight, but Yeah, eventually it'll get there. And then I also printed the bottom, the pommel. This is the pommel. So just like the top of the handle, which is this piece, it just fits like that. However, that's not the full length. Actually, there's two pieces that go between these two. So the handle is, well, as you can see, the handle is really freaking long, relatively. So just the handle itself is going to be like 2 feet, and then the rest of the sword is going to be like 3 feet. So yeah, this piece, it's a bit warped on the bottom. And I tried to print a middle piece with this translucent PLA, but I don't know what happened. I think it just absorbed too much moisture, because although I had some fantastic prints with the translucent PLA, now it's not printing at all, and I don't really know why. I think the translucent PLA, PETG can be naturally translucent, but this PLA is not naturally translucent, so they must have added some kind of additive to it to make it translucent. Whatever that is, I think is hygroscopic, so which means it absorbs moisture in the air. I did those wood fill prints. Now I've moved on from wood fill, and I'm printing with black PLA. It's E-Note PLA, which is E-Note pad, this stuff. 3D filament. So I wanted to try this stuff. I've heard some pretty good things about it online. I got this as a gift over the holidays, so thank you very much. Yeah, 1.75 made in China, just black PLA, nothing special. The other filaments I have to try is I have more green PLA, but this is not high vis or what did I call it? There's a word for it. UV PLA, like neon PLA. No, not neon. There's a word for it. That's the wood one. It's not this one either. Oh, it's CC Tree. This one, made by CC Tree. What? Fluorescent. That's the word I was looking for. Fluorescent green. So I've tried the AMZ 3D. I know that one's pretty good, at least better than the Chinese stuff I had. And then there's this CC Tree, which is the Chinese stuff. I mean, AMZ also be Chinese. This E-Notepad stuff is Chinese, but I think it's higher quality stuff. So I have more AMZ 3D, translucent, or not translucent, neon green. I don't think it is fluorescent. Have just more black PLA. This is CC Tree PLA, so I'm going to compare the CC Tree black PLA to the E-Notepad black PLA, and we'll see if there's any differences. I had to slow down this print because it came off the print bed earlier, so hopefully this one will succeed. I'm not using much of a brim, and I find that things don't stick to this glass ceramic so well. Like, maybe it needs to be hotter or something, I don't know. In fact, I'm going to turn up the bed temperature just to make sure it sticks a little bit better. So after the black PLA, I also have these two special. They're not PLA. Is this one upside down? Yeah, it is. Damn it. So this is red PETG. So I'm pretty good with PETG. A lot of people tell me that PETG is the way to go. That it's about as printable as PLA and about as strong as ABS. And if I'm gonna make props and pieces like that, I think PETG is the way to go. Which really I should be printing all of these in PETG. But I've also been told that PLA is just fine. It's just not high impact. So as long as I don't go swinging the switch axe into things, it should be fine. And then lastly, I have this Sunlu. Is it on that side of the box? Yes, the PETG is AMZ 3D, and this is Sunlu Black TPU. So this is flexible stuff. And I've been told that the Titan extruder on the Tornado and the extruder on the Ender 3 both should think it's a bone tube setup. And I don't really have anything I want to print necessarily in TPU yet. Probably just like a test octopus or something. Although I think it'd be cool to print like, I don't know, something like get purple TPU and print like a mud. What's it called? It's the muck. The muck Pokemon. Or pink and print a Ditto. That'd be pretty cool. Yeah. See, you can already see on this print, I have those weird layer issues. I don't understand what's causing those. I didn't hear any clicking during this, so I don't think it's necessarily an extruder problem. Yeah. I don't know. Hopefully it's just that this filament isn't, like, settled, because, like, if you look at it, it's, like, awful, okay, great, but it's minor issues, almost no issues. And that's the order I printed them in for the wood filament. So first, second, third, fourth, fifth. So it's almost like perfectly in sync with the quality. The quality's gone up. And I did tweak settings for each one. So that's possibly why it gets better and better as well, of course. Anyways, I'm hoping this at least I can use, and I don't have to just throw it out, but who knows. We'll have to just try it and see. The black one seems like it's still sticking, and the bridging looks like it works fine. So, yeah, that's been all the 3D prints so far for this holiday season. I printed some other stuff, but actually, not really. I haven't really printed anything else. No, not since my last video. This is all the stuff I printed since my last video. I was testing these new filaments. So, yeah. That's going to be it for this update. Just going to keep it short. I'll get shorter and shorter each time, I'm sure, as I improve these vlogs, if you will. Update vlogs. And that's it for me. So, see you next update.